It's your man, Admin Magic, and today for Nerds of Combat, it's been a week in the making. This video was actually supposed to be done last week. However, weather concerns affected a lot of our admins, so we decided to hold off until now. However, we did still post our Marvel Top 10 hand-to-hand fighters for the Marvel Universe. Of course, we did the same rules as we did for DC, in which there was no superpower beings, only enhanced. And of course, this was based on skill, feats, win-loss records, things of that nature. So I got a full roundtable today. We have Admin Impasse, Admin Negro Lantern, and Admin Gaara is now first joining us for this joyous event. So
just for the record, I think we might end up having like some audio issues there at the beginning. So again, Admin Impasse was up first. Me, Admin Negro Lantern, Admin Gaara, and of course our host, gracious host, most elongated, eloquently.
Oh my God! Here we go. Anyway,
we already started.
No, but I think we were gonna have some audio issues at the beginning. You'll hear it whenever you go back over the video.
Probably so. But first things first, I do want to let you know that we do have honorable mentions, and first, before we get to that, we posted this, like I said, a week ago, and for a whole week, we have been getting, I don't want to say flame because it's an opinion-based thing. Nobody's gonna make a list and it'd be 100% agreeable. But however, we've had a lot of people trying to come at us for this list. And the main reason being is because, in which we're going to get to the honorable mentions in a second, is because a lot of people already have preconceived notions of when you think of Marvel's top 10 hand-to-hand fighters, there's a lot of people that are on autopilot, as Negro Lantern likes to say, who they think should be in. Now, on to our honorable mentions. And once again, we're going to go through each one because we have 5 of them and of why they're not in the top 10. And first person's first is going to be a surprise to a lot of people, is Captain America, Steve Rogers. Now, when I tell you, people, that this man, he was the single most argued person that we had to go against, the reason why he's off this list, it is mind-boggling how much we had of this simple concept of why Steve Rogers is not in. So, of course, for you that don't know, of course, Captain America is one of the first superheroes of Marvel Comics, along with Namor the Submariner and, Mr. What is his name? Hammond?
James
Cap's not that, but to be clear, Cap's not that old of a character. He's
not super old. He came out around the 60s, right?
No,
he came out during the war. He came out during
the
he came out during the
So Hammond go way back.
Oh yeah, way back.
And then of course
Human Torch is the first
superhero to fly.
Yeah. So of course we all know who Captain America is. The good old Stars and Stripes, good old shield, things of that nature. So in the first issue, now once again, I'm going to preface this by saying it's not that we excluded enhanced people. We didn't exclude enhanced people. In fact, enhanced people was the limit. So Captain America was among the 20 plus people that we had to break down in order to get this list down to 10. And he still made honorable mention. Now, when we decided of why Captain America is not on this list, the main reason of why the top 10 is in is because you could take away what makes them enhance and they're still good. You take the enhancement away from Captain America, not so much. Here's the thing: people will argue with us all day long about the time where he fought Shang Chi as an old man and fought off a couple clones.
Or he
And
fought off these superhumans and stuff. He still fought Iron Man and everything, except they forget he had a suit.
he had an Iron Man suit on. Now, see, this is the perfect example of why. Because in the first Civil War, it's as plain as day. It's Serum Steve in his prime. He's able to fight toe to toe with an Iron Man suit.
You know what? I'd actually like to add something there because I'm surprised you never brought it up the whole time you were raging about people's ignorance. In Civil War, Iron Man. I'm sorry. Captain America doesn't just fight one Iron Man suit. He fights the Spider-Man iconic Iron Man suit.
Exactly.
Yeah, he did.
And people skip over that too.
So yeah, he's able to fight the Iron Spider suit and an Iron Man suit until you get that whole, beautiful shot that, Captain America with the shield blocking Iron Man's repulsor blast. Mind you, it's not like Iron Man's going soft on this man because this is literally a battle of ideologies. So
yeah, he was memorizing his fighting style with the suit to try to compensate for his inability against the nigga.
Which Iron Man did bust Cap up a little bit.
Oh yeah, he definitely did. It's facts on panel.
And he's still able to go toe to toe with this suit. Now, first things first, when the serum goes away from Steve Rogers in the last issue, volume 7 of Captain America, I think it was issue 25, I believe, or 24, one of the two. He has a whole retirement party. He says, I am not able to be the Captain America that I was. It is plain as day. He is not the same person at all, which is why he introduces Sam Wilson as the next Captain America. And then Captain America, Sam Wilson, goes on to do most of the stuff that Cap did, including fighting old Cap enemies and the Wrecking Crew, which is a Thor level enemy, and the Nazi vampire, who was a Namor level threat.
Not to mention an off-panel feat that was made very clear on one whole page that Sam had been recovering from a fight he had with Abomination, where Sam himself took out the Abomination.
Mind you, for a lot of people that don't know, Abomination was made to be double what the original Savage Hulk strength was made for. So factor that in.
But not to get hung up on just one honorable mention. But as Admin Magic said, I want to double down on this because I want to make sure what he said was clear. It was the most frustrating Captain America. I personally didn't think Captain America belonged on the honorable mentions list. Again, it's not that Cap doesn't have incredible feats. Everybody has to understand this. It's not that Cap's not an incredible person. Nobody said that. It's that Cap didn't become a combatant, a skillful combatant like everyone else who actually made the list until he had his serum. And again, Admin Magic has quoted, that's just one time when Old Man Rogers acknowledged he was clearly not the same Captain America. Yes, he went on to be the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He went on to have the Secret Avengers team. That he still acknowledged that there was no way possible that you could think the serum full-fledged Rogers was the or the deteriorating serum full-fledged Rogers. There's no way you could come to a conclusion where you think those two Caps are the same person. Cap consistently reminded us all that was not the case. If you don't believe so, as me and Admin Impasse pointed out, Avengers Standoff. And Avengers Standoff, when the Cosmic Cube turns Cap back into his prime, of course, with the new storyline or whatever, Cap, one of the first things Cap says when Bucky is making fun of him being the dad, he literally says, I think I might be better than I was before. I'm back to my full strength.
Yeah, back to fighting condition, as he put it.
Yeah.
And as once again, Cap in Civil War #1 versus the Cap that fought Tony at Time Runs Out. He had a full Iron Man suit.
Like, I don't know how simple we could put. Not to mention, if you actually read, because I know these guys like to pretend that they actually read the comics for Captain America, especially the older ones. If you actually read when he got the serum and everything, it not only rebuilt and enhanced his body, it also enhanced his brain. So all this fighting capability and all that learning martial arts and stuff, he wouldn't have been able to do all that if he never got it in the first place. He was too sickly to even join the army.
He pretty much has total recall of everything that he's ever learned, down to a T. He pretty much has, the serum pretty much gave him Midnighter's computer.
That everybody tries to hype up.
So, and now with Captain America out the way, Steve Rogers, the next honorable mention, and the same reason why she's not on this list, is Black Widow. I don't care what I don't care what you say. She was bioengineered from a child to be in the Red Room, and has the Red Room version of the serum that knocks her out the same way. Next honorable mention, of course, is Gorgon. Now, Gorgon was hard.
That was a hard one because naturally fighting ability and everything, he's still that guy's a beast.
And he has a significant win against Shang Chi.
Exactly, but
that man.
Oh yeah, but the biggest thing that we can't ignore is that healing factor he has. Not to mention, he kind of turned people to stone.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing with Gorgon. You can't. Now, of course, that leaves Gorgon out. Now we have a surprise one that some people actually, and I'm gonna let Joey and Impasse take it away on this one. Misty Knight, because we had an argument for at least a couple hours on this character.
Misty Knight was when we made the candidates list, she was one of my top picks out of everybody that was thrown in the pot for the candidates list. And one of the number one reasons being is people overlooked that when Misty first showed up on the scene, she was giving hands to Danny. That was that was the premise for which Misty skill set was. It was, hey, no chi Danny. I'm rocking with no chi Danny. Right? Then as time went on, of course, Misty Knight and Iron Fist had a relationship. And when they had a relationship, they opened up a dojo together. These individuals trained consistently together. Misty Knight ended up becoming such a phenomenal combatant that she was literally known as the daughter of the dragon. Right? Misty Knight whole team was female phenomenal combatants. To this day, arguably the best females in the landscape under Elektra, under Gamora and Elektra, but Gamora for obvious reasons because of her physiology, not earthly, right? So when you get away from Elektra, you literally have Misty Knight, Silver Sable, who's basically female Tombstone, and then you have Colleen Wynn. I'm pretty sure I just butchered her last name, but nonetheless, Misty Knight has been very consistent too, and that's the other thing too, because that's what matters: the consistency of feats.
Because Lord knows.
Now, Misty has also too been one of only the few people to ever be able to use cap shields properly. For some of y'all, this may not be a big deal, but in Marvel landscape, they always make this a big deal. Not a lot of people can use cap shields like Cap, and so far, what we know, only one person can. And you can talk about a lot of people who have used it, but from what we know, only one person can use it like Cap, and possibly better than Cap, and that's been Hawkeye.
Yep.
So, and then, like I said, because we literally spent to the last day in the last hour making this list. And Misty was still one of those people where you could still throw her in. And it's just like, actually, Misty and the next person, which of course is Hawkeye, as previously mentioned. Thank you for that.
Because Hawkeye was definitely the toughest one.
Well, both of them were fighting for the, like 9, 10 spot, 8, 9, 10 spots. Hawkeye and Misty Knight were there was arguments for those two big time.
Oh yeah, because you can't ignore any of their feats and any of their especially when it came to Hawkeye. Hawkeye died and came back still on the ones.
And here's an incredible thing to point out too about the list, because of course some of you may end up salty that Cap didn't make the list, but you have to acknowledge Cap didn't become a great combatant until after the serum, as Admin Magic has tried to stress to you. But anyway, a lot of things you'll notice on the list is people's compatibility to Captain America, because again, when Cap does have the serum in him, he is a phenomenal combatant. And a lot of these people are individuals who either don't have a serum or they have some kind of other enhancement, right? It means that they can, and enhancement may mean something different from y'all, but that's a different topic. But let's briefly go through it. Enhancement means that they can go from a base level to another level to another level whenever necessary. They're enhanced individuals. That means that this one individual may have an artifact or a talisman or something like the Super Soldier Serum, but they already had an innate ability to get a job done. They were already innate combatants, and then they can go up to the next level if necessary, and they can go past that if necessary, but that's not their baseline, and that's the whole point. But with Hawkeye, it's the same thing. Hawkeye's comparison to Cap, Hawkeye proved he was better than Cap. Another human being with no serum put Cap on his butt, saved Cap's life, and it was during a time when Cap said, hey, I'm trying to see if you can live up to my mantle so I can make you the team leader. And Hawkeye went on to become the leader of the Secret Avengers. Hawkeye also, too, fun fact, Hawkeye also, too, took up the Captain America mantle after Captain America died after Civil War, as we spoke about earlier. And Hawkeye didn't want the mantle. And keep in mind, too, what's really important, what's going to be important later, is that Captain America didn't choose Hawkeye. Right? Tony did. And then Tony chose Bucky. Captain America didn't choose these two people. This is going to be important.
So, and which goes into a crossover point. There was a lot. Now, we had a DC list. Now it's about a couple weeks now. And when people were mad about the Cap not being on there, they tried to go to our list and say, well, why is Deathstroke so high? Now, DC Comics as a whole, which as a DC aficionado, things of that nature, I will say that DC is more streamlined than Marvel, which is a testament to Marvel's creativity and ability to where we could come up with at least 20 to 30 people that could at least be able to have a chance to be in the top 10. DC is a lot more streamlined. DC for decades will say these characters are this is it.
Like that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
This is it. You might get some that might get some lucky shots in. You might get some that may get some toe-to-toe standing in, but this list is it. And we, of course, had Karate Kid, Richard Dragon, Lady Shiva, Cassandra Cain, and Bronze Tiger. Well, no, Lady Shiva, Bronze Tiger, Cassandra Cain, and Deathstroke at number 6. And people were trying to argue for Deathstroke because they were trying to say, oh, well, you know, he's just the same as Captain America, and he has a better serum than Captain America.
And you want me to go?
You go take the first half. I'll take the second one.
Like, okay, because here's the breakdown for y'all that are uneducated or don't know about Deathstroke.
Remember, we actually care about the storylines and not just the skills.
Exactly. Because of course that needs to be specified. Now, so in case you didn't know, Deathstroke before any of the serum, any of the assassinry, anything, was a well-known, decorated, very known soldier. Like, seriously, so decorated stuff. He started out in the army and everything, I believe at 16, and snuck through, lied about his age. And mind you, ends up being one of the most decorated soldiers in history.
Yeah, I think youngest medal to be in the Korean War. Was pretty much before he got to the place where he eventually would get the serum. He was literally known as an army legend.
Exactly.
Army legend, like from the rank file down, he was literally known as the best the entire army has ever produced. Period. And this is before he went to the compound to get the serum, as Impasse will now.
Exactly. Because here's the thing that a lot of people misconstrue and don't seem to remember reading. He didn't get a super soldier serum. He was getting a serum against literal truth toxin. Literally anti-truth serum that had an adverse reaction that made him a super soldier.
And mind you, originally, before, this only opened up his brain capacity to the whole, what Lucy got. Lucy pretty much stole the bit from Deathstroke about the whole 90%.
It's actually an old myth. People used to believe that human beings were only using a small portion of their brain capacity, which is absolutely ridiculous because you can suck your thumb and get a blowjob at the same time and still walk through the bathroom door. I don't understand why somebody thought that's how the brain worked, but that's what it came from. It came from that old myth that human beings don't use full mental capacity. And Deathstroke, I believe in fiction, is the first character to ever like really
acknowledge that. Yeah. He's actually one of the first characters to actually acknowledge the myth and rule. And that's what it was before, of course, he got the well, it wasn't really a retcon, but they just made it into pretty much a now super soldier serum. And it's still not better than Cap. It's exactly I'm sorry, you're never going to beat the original super soldier serum. It's still even
because here's the thing. Slade already had all his skills and everything set out and only just kept getting better. Cap's whole body was changed.
Yeah.
To the point where he was even smarter and faster than anything humanly possible. Throwing shields through tank, for God's sake.
This whole notion that people had that going back to the DC list and trying to do this comparison between Deathstroke and Cap, it really undermined itself because as these two very, very informed individuals have pointed out, you clearly don't understand the context there. You overlooked the whole background of the two characters, but both characters, not just one. You didn't just overlook that Deathstroke didn't actually intentionally take a super soldier serum. You overlooked the fact that Cap needed the super soldier serum to be special. You overlooked that. Or I'm sorry, not to be special, but to be effective as a soldier. Right? You overlooked that.
Exactly.
But now you guys are all caught up. Let's jump into this infamous list, man.
Oh yeah, because the hate we will get.
Of course we will. Of course.
Especially for just number 10 alone.
Yeah. Speaking of Cap and Deathstroke and the serum, Captain America Sam Wilson is number 10. And so if you understand why Captain America Steve Rogers is out, then you automatically should have a good idea of why Sam Wilson is in. Sam Wilson, pretty much for his entire run, an all new, all different Captain America, pretty much proved or had to prove why he was Cap, why he was worthy of the mantle, why he was this, that, and the third. In fact, he's getting so popular back again with the whole Captain America, with the soldier thing, that he's coming back as Captain America and towards the summer of this year back. So now there will be two Captain Americas now, him and Steve running together. Now, I don't need to really break down Sam Wilson's resume. Of course, he is the first African-American superhero, period. Period. He's the first African-American superhero He wasn't a sidekick to Captain America. He was his best friend. Of course, he's been doing stuff for years. Vibranium rings. No super soldier serum, period. The only thing about him is that he has bird telepathy, which doesn't mean a damn thing to this list.
Exactly.
That has way more to do with the strategic and tactical capabilities of Falcon than it will ever have anything to do with him throwing those hands.
Exactly. And once again, the plenty of things that we've already listed, he was able to go up against the Wrecking Crew, which once again is a Thor threat. He was able to go up against a vampire Nazi, who was a Namor level threat. He's gone up against US Agent. I believe he's gone up against Crossbones.
Yes, twice.
And he's beaten Crossbones.
It embarrassed him the second time. Wasn't even a fight.
So, and
I think he was just tied up at the
Yeah. Falcon immediately wrapped him up.
Yeah, just walked off like.
Of course, he's been the leader of the Avengers. Of course, he's been trained by Captain America to pretty much do everything Captain America could. I can't put enough emphasis on this. I cannot put enough emphasis on this. Captain America said, "Here, this is the person that is taking over for me. Deal with it." And he is going to be trained by me in a computer simulation, and he's going to be able to do everything that I can. Deal with it. And everybody has dealt with it. So
and Misty Knight made sure that she wasn't just
she wasn't gonna follow anybody. She was
like, I'm not just gonna give Falcon the draws. I'm gonna make sure he can protect these draws too. Because she had taking a butt whooping way instead of whooping everybody. But no, So for the final thing on Cap, hopefully, other than the minute stuff that you have to acknowledge, because again, you'll notice in the list that a lot of people are Cap's better and have been able to either match Cap or do better than Cap. Anyway, the last thing to wrap it up is that Sam Wilson went over his counterparts, Bucky, Black Widow, because whether you like it or not, Black Widow falls in that category of Captain America characters. Black Widow, Captain America, because Sam has proven that he could do anything Cap can do. The first time Sam shows up, he knocks Cap out. Before he got that shield. Before he ever arm wrestled Cap, because people love to bring that up. Sam has been proven. He is Cap's equal, not his sidekick. He's his equal. Yeah, man. Number 9.
Wait.
Oh, let Andrew go.
Got something.
Real quick, just to add to the end of it, and just to reiterate, is the reason that Sam Wilson, Captain America, is on this list at 10 is the exact reason that Captain America, Steve Rogers, is not on the list, is because he is his equal, if not better sometimes, without the super soldier serum. So that's exactly why he made it to 10 and Captain America isn't in the top 10. We just had to get that out.
You are absolutely right.
And I am pretty sure we're going to have to still get that out again and again.
Oh, yeah. And again.
Now, number 9 is Daredevil. Now, I know there's people going to be.
Where do we even start with this?
Let's say this too. Nobody on this list is low. Keep that in mind.
Nope.
Yeah.
There was a lot of characters to go through. I think like 30 characters.
35.
Like, somewhere around there.
There's a lot of characters to go. No top 10 character is low. No one's low.
And I mean, this list included people like Baron Zemo, even Kingpin, Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, of course, Misty Knight, Gorgon, Mr. X, like Wolverine, Karnak. Like, this list included as many people as you can possibly think of to get down for this list. And like I said, it literally took us a week of research, reading, and down to the last hour. I think it was pretty much about 1, 2 in the morning before we actually posted it the next day of this finalized list. Now, of course, Daredevil, there's going to be people that's going to argue about whether or not his radar sense is a superpower.
Can I talk about that?
Sure.
Because
Go
this
right on ahead.
was the main issue I wanted to give people. Because here's the thing: even if you try to say it's a superpower, let me see if I can remind you people about Daredevil a little bit. He's blind. Like I'm sorry, but I don't think you understand how hearing, like how his radar sense works and his hearing ability, all of that would not help him as a blind man become a fighter of any kind unless he had somebody train him and was already physically able to become a fighter.
Which brings in Stick, who was a blind person who didn't have the radar sense that Daredevil had and was still able to mollywop him and Elektra before they both got good.
Exactly. So like trying to say that the radar sense is what makes him a superhero and is him a super is stupid. Point blank, period. Because at the end of the day, you try doing any of what he does with that radar sense and see how far you get.
Pretty much. And the main reason why he's 9 and he's not higher is simply because the person that is ahead of him, who is number 8, has beaten him on multiple occasions and is pretty much, and Elektra, of course, is number 8, and is pretty much Iron Fist is equal until he uses Chi.
Exactly. Because here's the thing, Elektra Nachios is a demon of when it comes to fighting and stuff. Like seriously, I can't even stress some of the absurd things I found when I was reading through her runs and everything for this list again. Because I'm sitting here like, so wait a minute, how do you learn a ninja technique to do something like that?
And people like, oh, well, she has the mind swipe and things of that. Once again, none of that has anything to do in context.
Exactly.
With fighting.
Like seriously, who do you know boxes like this woman? Because seriously, from Iron Fist to literally coming back and getting Bullseye so down bad that the man just hates her on a general basis. Mind you, he killed her and she got him a couple of times when she came back. Not just once, but like twice to 3.
Once again, the reason why Elektra is here is because, once again, she's beaten Daredevil on multiple occasions. She is equal to Danny. She's equal to Iron Fist without his chi. She's equal to a lot of them.
Like she boxed and stalemated against Black Widow.
Pretty much. While both were injured. So
exactly.
You can't use that whole, well, Black Widow was injured. Elektra was too.
I got a question for you guys.
What's up?
While we're doing this and while we're on the Daredevil Elektra section, would you guys agree or semi-agree that Daredevil's kind of like, or sometimes can be like the golden standard for what makes someone a good martial artist and hand-to-hand combatant? He's great, and he's on a platform I would love to be on myself, but he's just that guy that sometimes they use for other characters to show how good they are.
Him and Iron Fist.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that makes a lot of sense because Daredevil was made to be the human Spider-Man, right?
Exactly.
He's basically Peter Parker without the spider bite. You know,
right.
This is why, like, when he first shows up, debuts and all that, like, he's dang near equal to Peter. You know, and Peter, I think that whole time before Daredevil reveals that he can tell Peter's actually a good person, Peter's like, wow, he's matching me. Oh man, if he just had a little bit, if he wanted to hurt me, I'd be hurt. You know, like
exactly.
And I think that reason again falls under what you're saying, because Spider-Man is the measuring stick for everybody. Right? And if you
for
don't
all the street tiers,
yeah, exactly. All the street tier characters go through DC Comics, everybody goes through Batman. Right? Marvel Comics, everybody goes through Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Daredevil introduced, Spider-Man. Punisher introduced, Spider-Man. So
Silver
even if you're
Sable,
a casual person,
Kingpin.
Spider-Man. If you're a casual person and you want to talk about these things based on just the movies you saw, your favorite characters, Spider-Man.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I think he makes a great point there. You know, that reason is because Daredevil is your Spider-Man without the superpower. And that's another thing too, which goes back to what Admin Impasse was saying. Like, Daredevil doesn't have a superpower; he has enhancements.
Mhm.
You know,
Exactly.
you can go all day long and say, oh well, there's this one time in the comics where they said the word superpower, but the context of what they're saying isn't a superpower. That's a poor choice of words versus what's actually going on. What's actually going on is the man's senses are highly elevated. They're enhanced beyond what they were already going to enhance because of the chemicals, but they gave him no attributes to his muscle density.
Exactly. So
Like,
being able to hear and sense all that doesn't make you fast enough to dodge something, doesn't make you strong enough to do this, doesn't make you able to go toe to toe with characters like this.
Yeah, it
takes
doesn't.
training
It didn't
and
inspire
time.
him to do what he was already going to do. You know, the man, dad was a great boxer who just threw fights, and the man himself was like, you know, hey, I want to be like that, which is one of the greatest things you see when you see like live action depictions of Daredevil. He actually usually has these depictions where his go-to technique is boxing.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, man, Daredevil is in no way low on this list, as no one else is on this list. The man is definitely, definitively, as Admin Magic put it, always the measuring stick. I mean, as Gaara just put it too, always the measuring stick. Always.
Yep.
So once again, Daredevil has no serum, nothing, just like Sam Wilson, no serum, no nothing. It's all about the ability and their skills. Elektra has assassin's instinct, but once again, has no actual physical enhancements, and she was able to go against enhanced beings and still beat them as everybody else. Now, number 7 is interesting because not a lot of people know this character, and he hasn't really been prominent up until about All New, All Different. And that number 7 is Nighthawk. Now, I not going to say anything about Nighthawk. I'm going to let the two experts, once again, Impasse and Negro Lantern, say why he is number 7.
As of recently, it has been made clear through a soft reboot in the current Avengers run that Nighthawk is a nemesis to Black Panther. Now, a little history here. Nighthawk was always meant to be, and always was, and will remain, as we can see with them taking away his modern design and going with the classic one, which I freaking hate. As you can see, Nighthawk is Marvel's Batman. He's the carbon copy. Not, oh yeah, I can see he's kind of like, no, he is 100% a carbon copy of Batman. He is plagiarism in a cape. All right. So when you think of DC and the list that we made with DC, guess who was on it? Batman. You may disagree with the ranking for which we place Batman, but nonetheless, Batman will forever be somebody on everybody's mind and mouth when it comes to great hand-to-hand combatants in the DC landscape. Now, when you flip that to the Marvel landscape, again, as we talked about, with Spider-Man being the measuring stick of muscle and then Daredevil being his human counterpart, which is still a measuring stick to Spider-Man, the landscape in Marvel has basically Nighthawk as the super amped up version of Batman. So there's no question about when there's a feat against the Squadron Supreme, which is the team he comes from, if they're insinuating the Avengers can do this to the Justice League. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the character. Nighthawk and Hyperion. It's, hey, we can prove that the Avengers can do this to the Justice League. Now, Nighthawk, again, is an amped up version of Batman. We all can agree, even the casuals, Batman is dangerous. Now, in Marvel landscape, Nighthawk has the feats to back it up. Nighthawk even killed his this particular Nighthawk that went on this list, the Black Nighthawk, killed his counterpart. His counterpart actually had powers.
Exactly.
when we get to where he is in the current landscape with the soft reboot, out of all the other Squadron Supreme characters, he seems to be the only one that retains his memories from the old days. So this means that his old feats are still in continuity to this character. Also, he seems to be a lot more lethal now because he's been upgraded to Black Panther's Nemesis. We saw in the and I'm trying not to be too wordy about this, but I want to be thorough. In the Phoenix trials, when the Phoenix was choosing who would be her host and picking all the best candidates, Nighthawk was chosen to go up against Black Panther, as we clearly saw his equal candidate. Now, mind you, the Phoenix Force was doing this because Moon Knight had rejected her, but it didn't change the fact that the person to come closest to Black Panther was Nighthawk. It was not Captain America. It was not Shang Chi. It wasn't Wolverine. It was Nighthawk. A great read whenever you get the chance. It is clear that when we get past that, in the current landscape, it happened again. Heroes Reborn. The only person to take Nighthawk down was Black Panther. It is clear that Nighthawk is somewhere around the best combatant in the landscape. Oh, I gave away number one. So let me stop right there. Let me stop right there. You got more than enough information about me. You understand me?
So, and the piggyback off of the Phoenix tournament, once again, the Phoenix does not play favorites when it comes to picking who is the best. The only time that she's ever had her favorites is pretty much with the Summers family or whoever's been around the X-Men. When this turn, after Moon Knight rejected the Phoenix Force and she went to find a new suitable candidate, every person that was a part of that tournament had the same equal amount of power to be able to do stuff, which is why people were able to hang with She-Hulk, even though She-Hulk is clearly one of the stronger combatants. It did not matter if you were Echo, She-Hulk, Captain America, Nighthawk, Black Panther, Wolverine, Shang-Chi, whoever it was, you had equal power. The Phoenix Force does not play favorites. And actually, like Admin Negro Lantern was saying, that is a great read in of itself because of the simple fact of the Phoenix Force did not play favorites. And there are a lot of feats that you can go with each one of those characters being able to go up against each other if they had superpowers, which once again is the main purpose of this list and one of Nighthawk's greatest feats. Because if you say, okay, he's on equal footing with this character and these both have the same amount of powers, then now it's just down to skill. And if he was able to go up against Black Panther, then that means it's just a matter of skill. So, number six is another surprise that a lot of people don't really realize about. And there was some rumblings about him and his most awesome, strongest feat, which number 6 is Fat Cobra. Now, and I hate to have to do this. We did number 10 for the reasons why Sam Wilson was number 10 and the reason why he was on this list. Number 9 is Daredevil, once again, as Negro Lantern. I adamantly put out. He is the human version of Spider-Man. It is one of the measuring sticks for hand-to-hand combatants. Elektra has beaten Daredevil and has also been toe-to-toe with Iron Fist. Those are the major, and of course, the plethora of other people like Bullseye, who was enhanced, Lady Bullseye, who was enhanced. There are plenty of people that she has gone up against, the Wolverines. She's gone up against Black Panther, and she's held her own against a lot of these characters, which is the reason why she's number 8. Number 7, of course, was Nighthawk, and we explained that. Number 6 is Fat Cobra. Now, Fat Cobra is on this list for 2 major reasons. One, you knocked the fuck out of Iron Fist.
Like, say whatever you want, and let's talk about this. Say whatever you want about Iron Fist and everything. He's not the only brother with some chi. There are other immortal living weapons that exist in the 7 heavenly cities. And yes, Fat Cobra is one of those people. And mind you, Iron Fist tried to use his chi against this man and got knocked the fuck out.
And said, now remember your mistake.
And
let's not do this again.
Only for him to go into a tournament against this man later on and still lose.
So, and now people are going to try to cancel him out because of his strongest speed, which of course is when he absorbed the negative energy, absorbed and redirected back at the Sentry his negative energy. Now, that did almost count him out. I will not lie. It did.
Yeah, almost by a little bit.
Because if you go up against the Void, I don't give a damn.
Exactly. Chi or otherwise. That's some shit.
That's insanity. But
the only reason we give it some credence is because there were others helping, but still.
Well, for the most part, it still relied on Fat Cobra being who he is, a character who has that Elektra-like skill and enhancement. Because again, just like Elektra, whenever she decides to use her chi, Fat Cobra is built to be a human weapon. Now, you'll notice that too about the list now. The list is about to change the direction where everyone fits this narrative. Everybody's a weapon at this point. It's what they're known for. So to not have Fat Cobra would have been really dishonest.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As Negro Lantern said, this list now has officially changed to where you are now pretty much a living weapon.
Yep. You are known for your deadliness, your effectiveness, your ability in combat to the point that everybody avoids your ass at some point.
I was going to say the infamy of just your name alone.
Pretty much. And here's the thing. With these next two people, because number 5 is Iron Fist. Now, there was a lot of people when we made this list that did not argue Elektra, did not argue Iron Fist, and did not argue a person that we will mention in a moment.
Yep.
And the main argument I had was, if you respect Elektra and Iron Fist and the person that'll be mentioned later, and you respect what they are as an immortal weapon, and there's no reason why the next few people mentioned on this list should not be there.
Exactly.
Because they are all from numbers. I'm pretty much going to tell you now, from number 6 to number 1. I know all of these characters are different and have their own different things, but they are all pretty much the same character type. They are a living weapon. Now, back to number 5, Iron Fist, as Admin Gaara said. He said that Daredevil is pretty much one of the people that is the standard. I would argue also as well, you would have to include Iron Fist. Because
I was going to say him earlier.
Everybody on this list, I believe except Sam, I think everybody on this list has fought Iron Fist. And
at some point.
Yeah, at some point. I think Sam is the only one that hasn't. Has fought Iron Fist on this list and has fought him to a standstill, even when he's channeled chi or the power of the Iron Fist. I said
which
before.
Again, because a lot of people want to ignore that we made a criteria for this before Danny even got the Iron Fist. What did most immortal living weapons have to do? Fight a freaking dragon and plunge their hands into its heart. Like, well, it doesn't get any more clear cut than that.
And he doesn't always use the Iron Fist anyway when he does fight.
Exactly.
He'll use his skills before he starts to use the Iron Fist itself.
Yeah, because of how destructive and powerful it is. The chi is absurd. He knocked freaking Luke Cage through a whole wall and stuff, and even caught freaking Professor Hulk lacking. Like,
that's the only way he was able to beat Elektra, because Elektra was giving him a hand to hand, and he had to use his chi and the Iron Fist to get himself out of it.
And that's the
Elektra's an
incredible thing
assassin
too,
through and through.
because this is important when we talk about the criteria for the list. Danny and another person who goes without saying, a lot of you probably already figured out by now, Danny and that other person are the measuring sticks for that particular group of people, right? When you talk about the people who are the human weapons in the landscape, yeah, they're the standard. So if you already have a problem with where we placed him, keep that in mind. He's only the standard.
Exactly.
You can argue if he's the best or not, but consistently, that's where the bar is. And arguably the next person usually is put over him, and sometimes vice versa. Usually it's vice versa for me. I personally often put Danny over the next person, but it doesn't change the fact. In the whole Marvel landscape, if you want to talk about human weapons, these guys are the standard above Spider-Man, right? Because Spider-Man is the, hey, these people can fight. But once you figure that out, it's like, but can they really put that work in, though?
Exactly.
You go on to Danny. Yeah. So there's no reason that anyone should have a problem following the criteria. There's no reason.
No.
There should be.
Number 4 is the most surprising pick. It is Miss Ava, the White Tiger. Once again, if you followed along with this criteria, she is the White Tiger. She is a living weapon. Now, once again, she was about to be disqualified, like Fat Cobra, because one of her stronger feats is using the White Tiger God to take on Shumagora.
Exactly. Like, first of all, for those of y'all that don't know, Shumagora is kind of an elder god.
Kind of the strongest of them all.
Like known for destroying many a universe.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with Lovecraftian archetypes, this is probably just going to be really foreign to you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Shumagora, one of his aspects is a threat to all of the aspects in Marvel. An aspect of Shumagora is a threat to every aspect in the Marvel landscape, period. From the in-betweener to eternity himself. He is a threat to all of them. And
he's also one of the greatest feats for another icon, Blade. A lot of fun fact, Blade can smell Shumagorath coming through dimensions.
I did not know that. That's a fun fact.
I didn't know that either.
You'd be surprised. Not a lot of people know how heightened his senses are. It's a little.
What is it?
It's crazy.
Mighty Avengers. It's Mighty Avengers. When Blade shows up wearing the watermelon Spider-Man outfit because he was trying to hide his identity. He was teaching everyone how to use their powers. Remember, Power Man uses the chi. He was trying to teach them how to properly use their powers. He's even the reason Blue Marvel amped up Spectrum. When Spectrum, when Blue Marvel knocked Shumagora out, it was because Blade was like, "Yo, I can smell him coming through."
Got you. So Ava the White Tiger. Now, Shumagora, of course, was going to kick her off this list. However, and there's a controversy with this one because the next person I'm going to mention after her, did a similar feat against Danny Rand. This person was mind controlled against Danny Rand, and they tried to use that as a showing of skill for both characters. However, when I showed the similar scan of Ava being controlled by the White Tiger God to be able to go against Danny handily, while him using the power of the Iron Fist and Chi, they try to disqualify that. So then once again, I showed the scan. Well, actually, I didn't. Impasse Negro Lantern showed me the scan of her going against somebody that had the White Tiger God's power ×2. And she was able to evade and disarm with ease. Now, mind you, when that person had the Tiger God's power ×2, Ava was powerless.
Which is the criteria of the list. These characters who made the list have innate combat capabilities. They
Like,
didn't
'cause
become
if
great
you-
after they got their enhancements.
Once
Like,
again,
seriously,
the
if you are a normal person going up against somebody that had your power that you just used before to handle Iron Fist, Power Man, She-Hulk, and a number of other characters,
and was able to take a hit
Times
from
two.
Spectrum.
yeah, ×2, mind you, then guess what? I guarantee you made this list in this spot.
I mean, you're talking about Ava. Ava knocked out Power Man. Mind you, Power Man is a chi user.
Exactly.
He's not like these other chi users, is because, well, his is just straight up based on his manipulation of chi. And the man can take the chi of the city. So the chi that actually belongs to the city is his power. She made him out. She's a beast, man.
And it's just like there's no, like, those 2 feats pretty much put her on this list. Now people will be like, oh, well, that's not enough. Once again, the context. And now you have to go back to why, like, the White Tiger God, Bast, all these Khonshu, all of these gods don't just pick people just because they're just some random Joe Blow out the way when it comes to that. They pick somebody that is worthy of that title, especially, and the White Tiger God is ruthless. The White Tiger God pretty much says, you got to beat me.
About
if you
them
want
ones.
this, you got to beat me. Period. And there's only 2 people that have, well, I will say there's one person that's done it and has taken it to a whole nother spectrum. We'll get to that person in a second. Number 3 is probably one of the most controversial people on this list, or at least controversial in his placement.
Because it's literally such a problem that he is here.
And the
It's not
second
even
most
funny.
argued person that we had to deal with, Shang Chi. I'm going to preface this right the fuck now. Shang Chi is number 3 because of his inconsistencies.
He's
Exactly. Inconsistent as hell.
He is inconsistent.
Like, seriously.
As hell.
I don't know how clear we can be on this.
Before we go into depth about this and how people are already upset that he's number 3, is you realize he's number 3 on a top 10 of all the hand-to-hand fighters in Marvel. Like we said, 30, 35 people. He's number 3. I mean, that's top 3. That's
And I'm pretty sure,
like, seriously,
not to cut you off, Gar, and I'm pretty sure if we was to add in superpower people, I'm pretty sure he'd still be at least still in the top 10. Period.
I would probably agree to that. I mean, that'd take another month to do, but
yeah. Like,
it would take some more time to figure that list out.
Oh, listen, and we start bringing it. Oh God, the amount of reading.
Yeah. So, like,
no, but Gar's right, man. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
That's a Super Bowl ring, man. That's a Super Bowl ring. Like, you're top 3 over, like, the multitude of people, even when you're inconsistent. Come on,
exactly.
man.
Because there are some inconsistencies where we could be like, yo, we don't even need to really put him here because that fight happened.
It's safe to say we couldn't argue against Shang-Chi because the movie came out. And Shang-Chi has a current run where, obviously, with the popularity of the movie and, and the run trying to basically freshen up his character. That's basically what it's doing, is freshening up his character. Just like they're doing with Iron Fist. They're freshening up the Iron Fist mantle.
And Daredevil, Elektra.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So, like, it's like, you gotta face the facts. Shang-Chi is most likely going to go back to his hyperbole glory. You got to face the facts. So, not being naive, because, again, as everyone here deserves the credit for, they put a lot of time in. And these were one of the things you had to work with. You have to work with the acknowledgement that we could say Shang-Chi's number 10. Okay. or we can say Shang-Chi's number 6, right? He's most likely going to be way higher by the time you see this video, because the other issue will be out, and then he'll have some crazy new feed because the movie made him really popular. So the hyperbole is no longer going to be hyperbole anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. So one of his feats, of course, when he had the magical sword in his new run, which we eventually find out is the Cosmic Cube, he's pretty much able to go up against All-Father Thor.
Exactly. And not die.
Exactly. All-Father Thor, who had several power grabs, and he was able to, with the Cosmic Cube, which of course once we find out, he was able to go toe-to-toe with Thor with just nothing but skill. If he was on, so that just proves if he was on equal footing with a god, with just his skill alone, he's able to go toe-to-toe with that god. Now,
I was going to add that is that he didn't realize he had the Cosmic Cube till the end of the fight.
Yeah,
he didn't even know he was using it.
And what was crazy, he to his credit, he only figured it out through the skill, through the utility.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you got to give credit where credit is due.
Exactly.
Shang-Chi has been very inconsistent, but he's clearly
still is
known.
Yeah. Like I said, Marvel's trying to, of course, make him number 1. Of course, we disagree because his losses to Gorgon, his losses to Wolverine. It's like
lost to Iron Fist, lost to Cap in the sparring session.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, well, Black Panther said he's the greatest, blah, 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 blah. No, he didn't. He said he had great skill.
He's the master of Kung Fu. He didn't say he was the greatest ever.
So, context. Once again, we care about the storyline more than the skills. I mean, this is the reason why you need to pay attention to storylines, because the storylines flesh out the skills that these characters have. Once again, we wouldn't be able to discern about Captain America with the serum if we were just going off a popularity contest and showing all of the feats.
Yeah, we were just going off popularity. Taskmaster would be here.
Yeah,
exactly. Because, and here's the thing, and I will repeat this till the sun burns out. Taskmaster is not gonna be in a real top 10 list, and y'all just gonna have to let that go.
Same with Wolverine.
Exactly, because here's the thing. Taskmaster can copy people's fighting styles. That doesn't mean he ends up being better than them, because we even see when he fights against Black Widow or Cap, the minute somebody starts changing up on him, he's shit out of luck.
And I'm going to add too. Let's keep in mind too. Apologies, Gar. Let's keep in mind too. I got this one brief thing that must be pointed out. When Cap just recently beat him, he beat him with street fighting techniques. Exactly. He just whooped him as a brawler. He didn't. No flashy stuff. Cap beat him as a brawler. Taskmaster don't belong on this list. I'm sorry, Gar, please.
And I'm going to add to this Taskmaster talk is that he's kind of like Daredevil to me in that Daredevil's the standard definition for human level, hand-to-hand fighters in the Marvel universe. Is that Taskmaster's kind of like the villain that they use for these guys to beat up, because he has this ability that he can copy anybody, but then every time, well, not every time, but most of the time he's getting beat by these people that are on our list, that are on our honorable mentions. He's kind of the guy that's there to be known as really skilled and elite, but also be there to be like, yeah, he can't do it all.
No, yeah, you're right. He's there to be like, well, not exactly Cap, but this person has to prove that they can hang with Cap's throwing techniques, or this person has to prove that they can hang with Hawkeye's archery. This person has to prove that they can hang with swordsmanship. This person has to prove that they can hang with
Shang Chi's martial arts skill.
I was gonna say Danny. Danny, Shang Chi, you got to prove that you can hang with their chi art. You have to prove that you can handle the side wrist techniques that which Taskmaster is going to use because of the hilt of the sword. Gar killed that. That's so on point. That's what Taskmaster shows up to be. Taskmaster is a team buster because he's walking around with a team amount of skill, and you have to prove that you can take on a team.
Exactly.
And Wolverine's not on this list either because now, if it was pre-adamantium,
healing factor.
If it was pre-adamantium, I would say he would be. If it was pre-adamantium. Because he, in pre-adamantium days, he had to have the skill.
Exactly.
Because he just couldn't be a walking tank like he is now.
Because Lord knows the only reason he even ends up being on a list, period, is because of his healing factor. And everybody tries to say otherwise. And here's the thing. I know. Years of this character going across different landscapes of genres and stuff, learning fighting abilities and skills and everything. But his fighting style and everything had to change because he relied on his abilities too damn much.
And Black Panther is the main one that has pointed this out.
Exactly. So because he relies on his healing factor so much, he doesn't do skill like that. He ends up being a brawler and ends up extremely predictable.
Which is why every character that is on this top 10 list has beaten him every last one. Now, moving on to number 2, which a lot of people are going to find controversial.
Oh, listen.
Because we had Shang Chi at number 3. Now, of course, if we had to say number 2, then that means we had to have unwavering proof that these two people were above everybody on this list. Now, we have a major Moon Knight expert in this panel. So I am going to allow him to explain why Moon Knight is number 2. Oh, and I'm going to preface before he starts. I know you motherfuckers is going to mention this supermoon bullshit.
Because here's the thing, and I don't know how to even preface this a lot or say this again here, because y'all like to try to throw this up. Before the arc even started, we knew for a fact that Moon Knight had no kind of enhancements or anything because he wanted it to be a fair fight with Iron Fist. He was like, I'm sitting here, I'm praying, I'm waiting for you. I'm not wearing any of my suit or gear. We are just running the ones.
Yeah, the only thing Mark showed up with was the bandages. The bandages were special bandages.
Literally around his hands.
But they were ceremonial. So it wasn't like they enhanced his technique. I think they started off really good with immediately jumping into the Age of Khonshu stuff. For a lot of you guys that are only up to date on current Moon Knight stuff, or maybe you only met Moon Knight through that major event that broke the internet. Mark gave everyone a fighting chance. If you don't believe that, if you think he was powered up when he took everyone on, you clearly missed the scene between him and Black Panther. When he meets Black Panther the first time, he's like, yo, prepare yourself. It's about to go down, homie. And Black Panther's like, oh, no, that won't be necessary. I already know you know that there's something going on. You ain't got to beat it out of me. I'll just come with you. Then Mark goes for the necklace, and Black Panther is like, no, you're not listening to me. You can't beat it out of me. It is me. So with that being said, Moon Knight, as said very, very early in this video, Moon Knight has consistency. Moon Knight and the number 1 character have the most consistency. Now you can say, but Moon Knight's obscure and we didn't see a lot of him. That's really not true. You just didn't indulge in Moon Knight content because Moon Knight's been a part of most major events. Age of Ultron. The landscape is only actually safe right now because of Moon Knight. Marvel Annual 1, where Moon Knight takes on Kang the Conqueror through every timeline and dimension. Age of Khonshu itself, as we just spoke about, literally took down the entire Avenger. It's not even debatable. The current run of Moon Knight has said twice now, has confirmed it twice now, and that's after the current Avengers run showed us after the events of Age of Khonshu Black Panther was still trying to recruit Moon Knight because he was like, yo, you have something nobody else had. You were enough to take us all out, you know? But the current run has confirmed that Moon Knight did indeed destroy the Avengers and take over the world. There's a scene that you see in Age of Khonshu where Moon Knight definitely had succeeded in his plans and took over the whole planet. It was everything had these outer versal Egyptian designs to it. But this was to protect the world. Moon Knight wasn't a bad guy. Now, again, Moon Knight's consistent. Moon Knight beat up Taskmaster. In the run with Taskmaster, Taskmaster got the up on Moon Knight, but Moon Knight didn't want to fight. The moment Moon Knight wanted to fight, it was over. Left Taskmaster screaming and begging for his life.
Exactly. Sitting there terrified because this man just walked through. Mind you, he didn't even have crazy armor or anything, just taking arrows. He's like, looking him right in the face with a sword in his face, like, boy, you're done fucked up.
The crazy things, too, is Taskmaster actually points out why Mark is an incredible combatant, unlike everyone else in the landscape. Mark would rather take a punch than try to dodge one. Mark doesn't have pain receptors, and unless that changes, this has always been his fighting technique, to push through all combat. Let's say you are familiar with Moon Knight, right? And you know that Moon Knight has always had some skills, but you don't know about consistency. Okay, let's go back to the original Battle World. Moon Knight took on a dark version of all the best characters, right? He took on a dark version of them. Daredevil absolutely mopped the floor. Mind you, he had already fought Daredevil before. Yeah. Now Moon Knight's taking on a version of Daredevil that is out to kill. And guess what? Moon Knight absolutely dominated. Moon Knight took on a room full of X-Men. This is all combat. He wasn't calling in his drones or nothing. Dominated every last one of them. So much so when he took out the dark version of Beast, Beast was like, yo, you're kind of a combat genius. Shang-Chi fought off Shang-Chi enemies that Shang-Chi has always struggled with. Even though Shang-Chi says, we need to go help Mark. Mark clearly was dominating one of his biggest nemesis. Even in a different fight with Shang-Chi, Shang-Chi actually compliments Mark, and he's like, yo, my companion has incredible skills. He's just really impatient. Oh, that looks so good.
Okay. I got a question for you.
Made dinner.
I got a question for Negro Lantern.
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say, because I read some Moon Knight, I dabble. I'm not an expert, but I definitely know a little bit more than most people because for some reason Moon Knight's not as popular as he should be.
For some reason.
Is it fair to say that Moon Knight's not really a team player and that kind of plays a part in why he's not in some teams and refuses to join them and things?
Yeah, so we can address that and move on. So the reason that you don't see Moon Knight on a lot of teams, which he has been a part of quite many teams,
West Coast Avengers,
the Ruthless teams, right? The Ruthless team like Midnight Suns, right?
Yeah.
The reason that you don't often see Moon Knight on a lot of teams is because Moon Knight's approach and techniques to everything is deadly, and the other guys aren't usually with the gruesome stuff. Moon Knight will rip an opponent's arm off or let the bad guy in the room kill the bad guy in the room and act like he didn't even know it was about to go down.
Or just plain rip somebody's face off.
Or in just the one
he
time
never done that more than once.
Just the one time it happens.
You see how you had to say it's still once. That's more than enough.
Now without building up on this word salad, I need to point out the thing that's most important to admin magic as I understand it. Moon Knight has the god Khonshu on his side. Moon Knight actually can't die because of this. Does this enhance Moon Knight's power? No. It just means that Moon Knight's not going to die. Does Moon Knight go into every fight like Wolverine because he knows he's going to survive it? No. He knows Khonshu will bring him back, but it's not guaranteed that Khonshu will bring him back right then and there. And a lot of times, the thing that makes Moon Knight a really special character is that Moon Knight is a mind over matter character. You actually don't know when Khonshu is assisting him and when it's just Moon Knight. A lot of people, as stated earlier, you love to bring up the phases of the moon thing. Hasn't been a thing in Moon Knight comics for a long time. Khonshu has said on numerous occasions, once upon a time, I blessed you with my gift. You seem to not want it again. When you see Mark doing like things like kicking over vans, that's all mind over matter. And this character has proven time and time again to basically be, which he is the first Jewish superhero, to basically be the counterpart to the first dark-skinned superhero of all time. And I guess we'll move there.
Wait. Can I just? I just need to say a little bit more.
Yes, sir.
Because he's number 2, and that's gonna. I mean, a lot of people are gonna have problems with this. So I'm gonna piggyback off Negro Lantern a little bit here, because he did talk about it towards the beginning of his reasoning, and this is all just gonna be, you know, kind of like words and not legitimate feats, but it plays a part into his character and his consistency. Is that he is such a big aspect of Marvel that people don't realize, and like Negro Lantern was saying, and he's played parts in these stories that people don't think about. And right now, if you read the time list, the Avengers Forever, Kang the Conqueror 5-issue miniseries, Moon Knight is a part of all 3 of those in a big part. Moon Knight is in history been in hugely, vastly important in the universe. And the current Avengers run too. I'm trying to think of the Infinity Warps. They did those fusions with the characters. Moon Knight fused with Spider-Man. That's big. That's just not for everybody.
It was a waste of time, because it's like Moon Knight already has web shooters, so you just made the same character.
Well, yeah. But they fused characters for some significance. I mean, there was not Ghost Rider, Black Panther, Iron Man and Thor, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man and Moon Knight. I mean, that's saying something right there alone. I'm just gonna say that
the whole with great responsibility thing, which is what Moon Knight has. Moon Knight has a phenomenal responsibility to all travelers of the night. He is the avatar. Again, as pointed out, these people who made this list are weapons. That's what they are. They're weapons.
Moon Knight
because before any of the Khonshu stuff, what was Mark Spector?
Boxer. Yeah. What? How do you say it? CIA operative. He was a mercenary. This man was an Olympic
known as deadly as hell before anything to do with the events that happened that led to him dying in front of Khonshu's statue.
Yeah, Mark was he was a weapon from day one.
And while he might not have participated in the Infinity Gauntlet run, he was important enough that he had his own page or two in the book that it showed him in New York City.
Which was the same thing they did in Age of Ultron. In Age of Ultron,
exactly.
Not only did he grace the cover, but the role that he played in Age of Ultron was that out of the small people that survived, him and Black Widow were the only ones who knew how to use Nick Fury's secret votes. Which turned out to be big later, because we found out those secret votes belonged to the Man on the Wall, which was a candidate.
So once again, I don't understand how you can get confused about the criteria on this list.
I don't know how even. It's simple.
Especially from 6 to 1. Like, if you don't question Iron Fist, then there's no way that you should question anybody from 6 down to 1, because they are all the same character type. Once again, Daredevil, Elektra, Sam Wilson, no super soldier serum, no true enhancements to the mind, body, rebuilding body cells and things of that nature to be able to still do what they do, unlike, once again, Captain America or Black Widow, who was bioengineered as a child in the Red Room to do the same thing. And the reason why. Now, here's an interesting one. Now, Bucky is interesting because Bucky fills almost all of the criteria. He almost does. He really almost does.
Except one thing that apparently a lot of people have forgotten or will ignore. He died and was captured by Hydra. Well, presumed dead and captured by Hydra, and turned into a literal assassin with a bionic arm.
I thought there was a movie that showed this.
If only there was some kind of film we could have watched.
I think there was a film or something that talked about
anybody
this.
watches the MCU and thinks it's like real, so it seems that would help.
Because it's not like he was confirmed that he was enhanced with a serum of some kind as well. Gee, that
anyway.
Can't be a thing, right?
Once again, storylines over skits, but he's gonna forever piss me off.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what would you have us do? Why would you drop a scan for proof? But
exactly.
But all the suspense out the way, you already know who's number one. We've been talking about this man pretty much the entire time, either indirectly or directly. It's Black Panther.
It's crazy. You have to
all
realize
hail the emperor. May he forever reign.
In some kind of way. You have to measure their greatness by how close they come to this character.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, no character you can say in combat strategy and hand-to-hand combatancy has not talked about this man, has not fought this man, has not feared incurring the wrath of this man at some point.
The most dangerous man in the world.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency, because that's the whole thing. At no point in time, at no point in time has Black Panther ever been inconsistent in his skills and everything, to the point where even when he was filling in for Daredevil, mind you, he did not have any of his normal gear. He did not have any of his crap. This man would make some of the most insane defenses and weaponry out of shit he found in a hardware store.
And mind you, once again, he did beat both Elektra and Daredevil with no serum, with no herb.
With Punisher in the room with no serum, but with no heart-shaped herb.
Beat the crap out of him.
So and a lot of people. Go ahead, Andrew.
I would say that a big part that plays into his consistency and his character as a whole and his skills is the fact that if you look at everyone on this list, it's not to say that they're not intelligent or anything, but it's that you're mixing pure deadly combat with extreme intelligence, like levels of Reed Richards, Iron Man.
Exactly.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that?
Yes.
What he just said is so true, because you take what he said literal. Iron Fist, known for the Kung Lung style and the Iron Fist actual power, right? Black Panther took the Kung Lung style. He took the art of messing with the Iron Fist, mixed it with Wakandan skills. And then he did one more thing. He took that and added a little bit of Bruce Lee to it for finesse. It created shadow combat. The man took a fucking science. Oh, excuse me. The man took a science that he himself created and somehow turned it into a way to beat math into you.
So much so that, mind you, he's able to shut down your abilities by hitting your third eye somehow.
The man can beat up the spiritual you while you still in you.
Exactly. How does that make any sense whatsoever?
Which comes with the ultimate reason of why now, of course, I'm going to preface this by saying this is a superpower, but however, the statement cannot be denied. When he beat the White Tiger God and took his power, he literally beat Logos. And the main thing that it said is that I have become the god of combat. And literally became the god of combat to beat somebody that was literally able to beat the judge of the entire multiverse. And he beat him pretty much with the concept
of an ass whooping. That's what Admin Negro
concept.
The concept of an ass whooping.
Like basically with the whole concept of literally being, I give the ones to all, and all shall receive them.
So now to bring it back down to Earth, For those of you that will argue against the heart-shaped herb,
yes,
may we please remind you of time and time again, anytime Black Panther is on a live action screen, in a cartoon, or in comics. In order to become the Black Panther, you need to beat the original Black Panther or the current person in charge without the heart-shaped herb. Now, in 1966, when Black Panther was first introduced, he had to beat the current Black Panther, which was his grandfather, the top warriors in Wakanda, and then continue on to trials throughout the entire world.
And there was no heart-shaped
herb. Because if you're actually a comic fan and actually read about him, you'll know that concept was not introduced until much later. Otherwise, when he was introduced his first time in a little comic y'all might remember, for the Fantastic Four, he 52. Came in and ran their shit.
Yeah, all of it. Now.
And the only reason he lost was because he didn't account for some regular ass dude being there with them.
Exactly.
So
he was like, "What the fuck is this guy doing here? Who the
doing here?"
So nobody, I would dare say, other than Wonder Woman, in the past decade, that has had a meteoric rise to prominence as Black Panther, from the Christopher Priest run to the intergalactic Kingdom of Wakanda, to the leader of the Avengers, to the God of Combat, like
the
shadow combat, and the oh my God, like there is no one of, like I said, other than Wonder Woman, that has had the meteoric rise to prominence as Black Panther. If Black Panther needed to beat somebody to prove to you that he was that nigga, he was beating him to prove that he was that man.
Exactly.
Whether it came from Dr. Doom and intelligence or magic, whether it came to reading intelligence, whether it came to fighting, whoever it was, if Black Panther needed to prove that I was the man at that, then damn it, he wrote it to where he was the man.
And let's talk about that, because what Admin Magic is saying here is very, very fruitful. And I want to be specific about that. This part is fruitful because there's a reason for that. There's a reason Black Panther is always the man. Black Panther was created to be the 007 of the Marvel landscape. And artists were writers were very meticulous about making sure that this stuck. This is why Black Panther has been the most consistent. You could probably nitpick about something you saw in like a crossover or event that you didn't like, but Black Panther himself has been an extremely consistent character who stuck to this one man can do it all premise. That's why I said previously, Moon Knight has only been second to one character in the landscape. Say Moon Knight is obscure all you want to, but every time you see a Moon Knight comic, Moon Knight's winning. Every time you see Black Panther doing something, Black Panther winning. You could be like, oh, well,
exactly.
No, Christopher Priest run, things went bad and Killmonger.
If we really want to go there,
you didn't read that story.
Because if I remember correctly, we had an event that passed, King in Black, where an entity known as Null that came down, killed the Sentry, took over Earth all in its entirety, made the fatal mistake of coming to Wakanda and tried to mess with the Black Panther and all his people there. And what area was safe from Null the entire event after that?
What places?
And you know what's crazy? Null did this right after the place had just been invaded.
Exactly.
Like Wakanda as a whole, like we could go on for hours about this, man. Wakanda as a whole is like literally, if there was an alien invasion right now, I'm running to Wakanda.
Exactly.
Because
Like, seriously, where's my
somebody's gonna say
ticket?
we're not. Somebody's gonna say, well, you're not actually talking about his combat skill. Let us get back on track. The
Oh, yeah,
man, as Admin Magic pointed out, has beat just about everybody here.
Yeah,
Everybody
Like,
who was
seriously.
PB.
and he's beating everybody either with the herb or without the herb. Like I said, famously, when Impasse was mentioning where Black Panther took over as the Man Without Fear, he literally took on Daredevil and Elektra without the herb. They made that perfectly clear. But he took them both on without the herb. He's, of course, given his respects to Iron Fist. And, of course, he's given his respect to Shang Chi. But he's never outright stated that he's not better than him either.
Yeah, because we saw him give a raging, going rogue Iron Fist that work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. Mind you, he had chi and everything in general. And you can argue it was his suit, but at the end of the day, the suit don't stop all attacks.
Not to mention the
and he's not
damaged. Destroyed.
Because the suit was damaged.
I was going to say, it's been shown that the suit isn't always his vibranium, or at least not the real defensive kind. It's been shown to be pierced,
if his suit fails, his mind and combat prowess is all that he needs to pull that win out.
I'm going to add some notable things here.
What
Admin Magic said at the beginning is, with the heart-shaped herb argument that some people are going to make, is the thing with Black Panther's, all his origins, it's been reset 2 or 3 times now. All his origins is that it's shown that he's already, when he's a preteen, a kid, a teenager, that he's already respected and almost feared among the Wakandans, that he's going to take over the Black Panther mantle because he's that skilled, that young, without anything. His origins have been reset a couple times with, it's all roughly the same with, some minor adjustments and all that, but it's always shown that as a kid growing up, he was already beyond what the current Black Panthers were and what everything already was. So I had to add that it's prefaced before any of it.
One thing that's extremely consistent about Black Panther, even in the cartoons, Black Panther as a youth traveled the world, studied everywhere, became a genius everywhere, and became a master of all arts everywhere. Plus arts that people didn't even know about, which again we know is the Kung Lung, which is the Iron Fist stuff, and it's the Wakandan techniques.
So then people are going to try to mention once again about the serum. And I'm going to preface this by saying there is a famous scan, Joey has brought it up plenty of times, to where Black Panther's mama, in Everything But Actual Birth, has said him and his grandfather always kept Steve as their favorite. And they held their punches against that man. But when Black Panther decided to be like, you
acted stupid now.
The foe ain't gonna be a thing in the future. He put that man down in like 1 to 2 hits. And
the Captain America. For those of y'all that love to bring up that time, Cap and Black Panther were basically trying to reason with each other and get them back on the same track. No, never forget. If you don't believe nothing else, that man mama made it clear. Y'all pull y'all punches. And Black Panther responded, well, everybody's honorable till they're not honorable.
Exactly.
And mind you, she was talking about not only T'Challa, but T'Chaka. So, and T'Chaka definitely doesn't have the skill that T'Challa has.
Well, no. I think she was talking about his father, T'Chaka's father.
Got you.
Yeah, the grandfather.
Tajiri, right? Tajiri, something like that.
Yeah.
Got you. So and neither one of them have any of the skills that T'Challa currently has. And they were still, and even other Wakandans still acknowledge that you're pulling your punches, that you can easily beat this man. And it's just like, once again, we're done. with the list. That's the top 10, pretty much.
Exactly.
But I wanted to continue to put emphasis on this. From 10 to 1, no matter if you took it away or not, they still had the skill to do so, no matter what. Sam, number 10.
Which is the whole point. God, you put that perfectly. We all should have just hashtagged that when all the drama
Exactly. Made that into a hashtag.
Or not, they still got what it takes to get the damn job done.
Sam never had the serum to begin with. Daredevil never had the serum, or anything of that nature to begin with. Elektra doesn't really have it to begin with. Nighthawk is Black Panther's equal and has been shown to be Black Panther's equal. Fat Cobra is an equal to Iron Fist. Iron Fist is the gold standard, along with Daredevil. Ava, once again, an Iron Fist immortal type weapon chosen by the Tiger God, has shown the skills while she was powerless to be able to beat somebody that had her power. And
2 times over.
2 times over, and was able to beat Iron Fist. And then, of course, Shang Chi. Enough said.
Yep.
Even
like no point.
In fact, they took his powers away. That's the crazy part. They made him a master martial artist, then gave him the power of cloning, and then said, you know what?
That's doing too much.
Which also too, let's point that out too. Just real brief. Whenever you bring up the Shang-Chi that wore the red outfit with the gold bracers or whatever, and you talk about how he had all these crazy powers at this time, do you ever stop to think how much Shang-Chi took L's during that whole time he looked like that?
Yeah, because that's where he got beat by Gorgon.
He got beat by Gorgon, and Captain America was able to fight his clones. Mind you, Cap has beat Shang-Chi, not only his clones in this instance, which is not good for Shang-Chi, more so than it is good for Captain America.
And Cap didn't have the serum at the time either.
Then he sparred with Shang-Chi because they had to protect Shang-Chi in the Secret Avengers run. Cap kept saving Shang-Chi on top of being his equal in a sparring match. Then on top of that, when you go to the Phoenix trials, and Cap was like, hey, I'm going to let you get the best of me, so the Phoenix will choose you. The Phoenix was like, I can tell which one of you are better, and took Cap over Shang-Chi. So, yeah.
Then,
Stop
of course,
with the hype.
Hype and hyperbole.
Stop with the hyperbole.
Hyperbole, and just go. See, like a lot of y'all like to go off of, like I said, a lot of y'all like to go off of these statements and nostalgia and this autopilot thing that you already automatically have in mind. As I said in previous comments on the Facebook page and on other pages in the community, Marvel has changed drastically. All new, all different. It is whatever you thought was the standard before is not the standard now. And it hasn't been for almost a decade. You think Cap's the man? If you thought Cap was the man back then, he ain't the man now. In fact, that continues to be proven of why Sam is here now. And regardless of what you might say, the MCU is helping to push the comics.
Exactly.
So if you mad that we got Sam Wilson on here, blame the MCU. Because the writers wanted to prove that that Sam should be up here, so they gave him an entire run to prove it. You're mad that
and mind you too, the MCU Sam ain't the comic book Sam. That's a very version of Sam.
Yeah, a little watered down.
Sam in the MCU be using guns and stuff. Sam in the comics, he made Captain America equal from day one.
Exactly. And you want to blame why Moon Knight is too? Even though his stuff ain't out yet, they've been pushing Moon Knight for the longest time. Especially when he made his, and regardless of what you might say, that man broke the internet that day.
Age of Khonshu flooded. Everybody wanted to know about this nigga.
Every issue in Age of Khonshu, people didn't know how to react. Oh, he beat up Iron Fist. Oh, he stole the Ghost Rider car. Oh, he just did Thorin. Oh, him and Black Panther are fighting. Oh, he has the Phoenix Force. Continuously broke the internet.
Not to mention he ripped Doctor Strange a new one too.
Yeah.
And told Doctor Strange it would have happened either way.
Exactly.
Exactly.
If it's any consolation, you had no chance. The exact So it's just like, and then of course we get to the man himself, Black Panther. Like, you want to be like, oh, we're so wrong about this list. Blame Marvel and the MCU because they are going to make sure that they push forward. You got something, Andrew?
No.
Okay.
Because seriously, if we want to talk how crazy stuff has gotten, Black Panther went from being a king of a country to the emperor of an intergalactic empire, which houses multiple planets
in his girl
at this point. And his girl is literally, it's the region of Sol, the leader of Mars, basically. Let that sit with you. Storm is literally from leading the X-Men to running a planet.
And his sister is a god.
Exactly. That can turn to stone into birds and access the power of ancestors.
And one of his Dora Milaje became the Iron Fist.
Exactly.
Right.
Okoye did become the immortal weapon. Oh God. Yep.
Like you want to be like, oh, well, this list is garbage, and oh, this list is this, that, and the third. Marvel's been showing you since time runs out since Battle World. They have been showing you since
first Battle World.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you really want to go that far, since the first Battle World, that this is different. This is all new, all different. When they showed everybody with the replacements and their legacy and all of this stuff, if you ain't on the train now, you better get on it soon, or you're gonna be left in the dust. I don't care that we like storylines over skills. You better start reading this stuff because it's only going to keep going from here. It's like this. You have a problem with the listings? That's fine. There was no list. In fact, we've had people copy us for the past damn week.
Exactly. And even try to use the characters they didn't like on the list in their copies.
And all they're doing is disagreeing with each other, left and right.
Exactly.
They're disagreeing and conceding.
Getting to the point where there was even one in particular that was like, hey, here's my characters. You put them in a list of ranking and skill. I'm not going to do the work.
No, better yet. This is my top 10, but really such and such and such and such is only here because they're usually here. I don't know how to pick the top 10. I'll just pick the ones you guys usually name.
Exactly.
On autopilot.
You don't like our list. Our list is garbage. Our list is this, that, and the third. But yet you pretty much took all the characters that we had. And you pretty much, make your own list. Make your own top 10. I'm just going to put these characters out here.
And if they act like they didn't acknowledge us, they just make a separate post involving all the characters we mentioned because none of them ever talked about White Tiger properly. All of a sudden,
at all. Until that list came out, they didn't even mention this poor girl because they never even read about this girl.
Exactly.
You could already tell.
What is this?
My phone is dying. We can talk about this forever. I love you guys. I'm gonna wrap it up.
All right, then. So with that, Admin Negro Lantern's gonna be on his way out. For Admin Negro Lantern, Admin Impasse, Admin Andrew, this has been Nerds of Combat. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And we will see you next time.